Okay, let's try to show you what's going on here. Go ahead and thread this thing up. I've got the larger capstan on here for 7.5 inches per second feed. See if I can do this here. Oops, not quite. Still trying to get the hang of this. Kind of worked. Once we get some sound here, I'll show you some of the findings. Got a lot of noise coming from here, but sounds a little bit better when I push on this, which means this spring needs to be tighter. And I'll try to rewind. Well, let's see. Let me fast forward first. Fast forward seems to work okay. And then, but rewind is really slow unless you pull this wheel down. Then it goes the right speed. So we're looking at a weak spring that pull this wheel down, and we need to tighten this pinch roller. That's what we're going to try to do. I guess I need to rewind this all the way now. There we go. Oops. Alright, shut that off so I don't get shocked. Let's see. Oh, we got to pop this. I'm going to get this spring out here because this needs to be. I'm hoping that if I just move the leg of this spring down another notch to the next thing that's sticking up here, that'll tighten it enough that the rewind will work correctly. So. Okay, back together again. Let's see. What I want to try to do is see if there's an alternate way to tighten this connection here for the rewind by maybe tightening this spring. So I want to see if that does anything. It's hard to tell because I don't have any reels hooked up now. And if I hook up a reel, I can't see what's going on. So I'll just have to hold this by hand and see if I can imitate what's going on. This is rewind, and it's not really doing much there except wearing out the wheel. So if I pull the spring, it does seem like it's going to work. So we definitely need to tighten this spring up, just like I did for play here. This one seems like it's working pretty well now. There's really not a whole lot of push on these things. And what's the other one that's the problem? Let's see. Oh, play is this. That's right, this is play. It's pulling pretty good. And the pinch roller. So let's see, we can tighten this spring up pretty easily. I'm going to try to do it the easy way. And the easy way is to just shorten the spring. Got my cutters. Don't like to do this, but really might be the only way to do it sometimes. Short of buying a new spring, which you can always do. Okay, formed a little spring there. It's a little shorter. Doesn't really want to go where I want to put it. Reading the manual on these real players, I kind of get the idea that they always just barely worked, and the slightest thing goes wrong on them, they don't work. Let's see if we can get this spring through that hole. Okay, there we go. I'd like to get a little more of that leader through. Okay, now let's see how this does in reverse mode. That's much better. A lot tighter now. Probably won't have any trouble rewinding. Good. Let's see. I'm going to try to tighten the pinch roller before we do anything else. This could be a pain. There's a lot of little mechanical things here. Looks like this one screw might be the main one to take off. I hope this doesn't come flying apart because of the spring. There's nowhere else to hook this spring, so I think what I'm going to do is the same trick. I'm going to just cut it and see if that does the trick. Quite a bit tighter than the other one already, but it needs to be even tighter. Yeah, it's pretty well attached on there. Maybe I'll just cut it from the far end. I gotta get this plastic sleeve off first. Try taking a couple pieces off here. Again, this is kind of like a quick fix. But without knowing the actual specifications of the original spring, it's awful hard to come up with a replacement that's right. So sometimes this is the best way to do it. Could spend $100 buying a whole bunch of springs from McMaster and try them all out, but I don't know. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to order from McMaster. Whew. This guy is tough. This is a tough spring to wrestle with. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Let's put this sleeve back on, I guess. Okay, now I've got to stretch this spring pretty good to get it where it needs to go. And dangerous. You don't want to get your finger in there when that thing's snapping. It'll cut you right up. I wonder if this would be easier to put this on first. Yes, it is. Okay, try putting this back. It's a little better. Okay, just make sure this is tight. It's not. Good thing I checked. This is a pause button here. Okay, let's put some reels on and see if we made any progress here. Forgot to turn the amplifier on. I'll have to wait for that to warm up. There's a few tracks on this tape, and one of them was sine waves. Oh, I have not hooked the speaker back up after the mistake I made before. There we go. That's probably about as good as the flutter's going to get based on tightening this wheel here. Try fast forward so that I can try rewind. Seems to be going okay on fast forward there. Alright, let's try rewind. Uh-oh, we're still sticking on rewind here. So before, if I pulled this one down, I'd get a better response. But there's no adjustment to pull this down. And I'd like to try pushing that other wheel up, but I can't reach it. So I can't tell if that's the trick or not. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it looks like that might work. I think we need to tighten that spring some more. I just barely reached a piece of it down here. Seems to do the trick. Alright, so tack this little spring a little bit more. Let's see, I have a couple of springs that I had sitting around. I'm not sure if any of them are appropriate in terms of their strength of pulling. This spring is already kind of short, so I'm not sure you can really take a whole lot more off of it to tighten it up. Let's see, so this is about that long. I can kind of pull it and get a feel. This one might be better, but it's hard to say. How far does that move? That wheel doesn't really move far at all. It's going to be pulled up. Alright, I took it a little bit to another level here. There's a smaller spring inside of the original spring to try to increase the spring force. So I'm going to put this back together now and see if it does any better. And while I'm putting it back together, we'll go ahead and grease this joint up here. Should probably get under the screw too. And we want to get that little spindle as well. It's probably easier to squirt this inside the bushing. Okay, I left way too much there. You think this would get easier every time I do it, but it doesn't. It's old plastic brakes. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. And let's try reverse. I guess we're pretty happy with that. There's a sine wave. Definitely hear some flutter in there. Warble. Sine wave again. Oops, wrong way. Reverse. Alright, mechanicals are starting to get better now, I think. Still got some electrical problems to check out. Alright, tighten spring, did that. Pinch roller tightened. We have some hum on the left channel. And the VU meter on the left channel does not seem to be doing much at all. I don't know why, but I'm going to look at the schematic and try to figure that out. Between that and the hum on the left channel, those are two things we got to track down next. So I want to check to see if the record function is working correctly. And the first thing to do is to see if the erase head is working correctly. And I don't know exactly how it works, but I see in the circuit, and I've read that there's a 60 kilohertz oscillator that's supposed to put a really strong signal to erase the tape. So all I've done is made a little tool here. This is, I don't want to focus now, but it's just a screw with, who knows, 50 turns of magnet wire on it, hooked up to an oscilloscope probe, which goes to my little pocket oscilloscope. And I've got it in record mode right now. And the trace is set on the basically 1 millivolt resolution, so it's very sensitive. And the time scale is 10 microseconds. And when I get this screw close to the erase head, you can see a nice healthy signal on there. And if I move to the middle, it gets a little, comes back there, and it's strong here again on the far right side of the heads. So sure enough, there is a signal there, which is good because it's supposed to be there for erasing. And if we go to play mode, regular play mode, it's not there because you're not supposed to erase the tape when you're playing it. So, and I checked the time, and it is indeed 60 kilohertz, so that seems to check out alright. The schematic also has something about a voltage for that record signal, so I'll have to check the voltage and see if that's correct as well. Alright, we're trying to do a little recording here now. We've got two inputs coming into the microphone jacks because the phono radio jacks just seem to need more voltage than my CD player puts out. But anyway, I've got them both somewhat balanced. I checked both channels by unplugging the headphone here and plugging into the other one. The VU meters seem to indicate that it's about equal. I've got it switched to record mode here, and I'm trying to record on the stereo with 2 lines on it, whatever that means, versus the stereo with like 3 lines or something. I'm not sure what that symbol means, but we'll see if it works. Got the bigger capstan on here, so it's running at 7.5 inches per second right now, and I'm recording over some Red Fox from the 70s, which is really lame humor, so I don't miss that. Got both volume knobs about 8 here. Got this set to stereo. Tone set about 6 on both of them, which is looks to be about the middle actually, 6, kind of strange, but lots of trumpet here, so we'll see how warbly this sounds after the recording. Probably could cut it off about now just for this test. Okay, we got to rewind. Plug the headphone. I'm watching the counter here. Oops, too far. Tape came out. Okay, I think I started around 2, so let's see if it works. Tape counts at 3 right now. I can hear the sound there coming out of the mono speaker, which I believe is only the left channel. Yeah, it's good and loud in the headphone. The amp in here is surprisingly powerful. It's made to drive bookshelf speakers, so headphone comes out really loud. This one sounds bassier, I don't know why. Could try. Might just be the tone control. It's a little scratchy. Either that, or I guess there's bass missing on the right channel for some reason. The left channel has a hum that I have to fix. It's a lot bassier in the left channel for some reason. But it's working. Pretty cool. Vintage electronics. Well, I've got the left amplifier out here and just hooked up by its minimum required cable here. I'm really trying to figure out what's causing this hum. I can hear it through the headphones pretty well. It's definitely a 60 hertz hum. And with my screwdriver, which is insulated because you got high voltage here, I'm kind of checking around here to see if there's any noise area, and the real noise area is right here. And when I get the screwdriver close, I can hear the hum get louder. Now this is where turns out where the pickup wire is connected, right here, and this, when I get my finger near it, it hums louder. So I kind of tucked this thing down in here inside the metal so that it shields itself a little bit. But still, when I get the screwdriver near here, yeah, it hums pretty crazy. And so if there's any AC in here at all, it'll pick up the noise. But I'm not sure that there is. They also have this metal plate that goes over there to shield it, which helps a lot. So I'm not sure if it's the noise is coming from around here or somewhere else. The power supply, I checked the ripple on the power supply, and it's the same ripple as on the other one, and the other one doesn't have a hum. So I don't think it's that. But one thing this doesn't have is a ground to earth, because it's only a 2-wire plug. So I've got this connected to earth ground right now. When I touch it there, the hum changes a little bit. I wouldn't say it goes away, but it seems like it gets a little bit better. So we might add a 3-prong cord to this so that we can have a real earth ground to it, or at least a polarized plug that we can ground to one side. Also, I noticed in the schematic there's supposed to be an adjustment for the AC heater voltage going to the tubes. You usually adjust that until you get no hum. This doesn't have it. I think this is different than the schematics that I have, and I don't know. This must be an older version, perhaps, the Japanese version, but there's no adjustment in here for that. So it looks like they just grounded one side to the chassis, and that might be why there's hum. And in that case, there's no way to get rid of the hum, probably, unless it's possible to rewire that. I wish it did have the adjustment. That would be really handy. I'm just comparing this to the right channel, because the right channel doesn't have any hum, but it also doesn't seem to have much bass. So I'm wondering if the right channel might have a problem with one of the with the signal chain somewhere, where the capacitor's gone bad or something. So we'll have to scope that one out and try to figure out why that signal is low on bass, and that we might be able to compare it to this and see if that one also has hum, perhaps. Right now it doesn't have hum because the bass is missing. So anyway, I'm not really sure what to do with this thing other than add a ground, because there's already a metal shield over here, and everything looks okay visually. So I have the right channel pulled out by itself. This one has its own power cord, so it makes it pretty easy to hook up. And I've got the headphone plugged into the speaker output, and this noise is pretty low. The reason why is that this pickup cable, I have taken a piece of bare copper wire and twisted it around there to short it out, and so it's well shorted out right now, and as a result the hum is very low. So I can tell most of the noise is getting picked up through the air. Nonetheless, the hum that's left is probably due to either wire placement of the AC heater voltage, and I tried pushing some of those wires that feed the heaters away from the tube sockets where I know the sensitivity is. That might have helped. There's always going to be a little bit of residual hum because this one doesn't have the adjustment like I mentioned. But what I'm wondering is, if I put a little more capacitance on the power supply, can I get rid of even more hum that way? And this is dangerous because we're talking about high voltage, so I've got to be very careful now doing this part. I've got the headphone on at this point. Let's see what the voltage is that I'm talking about here. Put it on 1,000 volts. It's probably about 300, I would guess. Let me go right to the chassis here. Okay, 180 volts there. I think that's at 275. Let's see. $220 there. And when I'm clipping this on, I can actually hear the 60 hertz hum. So just having this little bit of an antenna there is enough to cause a hum. There's one more wire down there. See if I can grab that. All right, that's 230 there. So that's the first point where the power comes in. It'd be best to probably get that one first and see if it does anything. This is not a good idea for several reasons. So what I'm going to do is, maybe I'll get some clips to clip this in and then turn the power on. That's the safest way to do it. If I just stick it in there, it'll spark and cause a really loud sound in my ear since I have the headphones on. Okay, power's off now. The capacitors may still be significant voltage, so always be careful of that. Grab some cables that have pinchers at both ends so I can pinch this thing into the circuit. Let's see. I can grab that right there. That's a clear ground. That goes to the original capacitor and also to the chassis, so that is definitely the ground. And that goes to the negative of this capacitor. On the positive side, I'm going to clip right where I've got an open place to clip right there on that capacitor. So I've now doubled the capacitance, which means doubling the stored charge, which means it's not going to have as much voltage ripple, so hopefully that will lower 60 hertz hum. It'll be hard to do. We're going to do an A-B comparison by clipping it out and clipping it back in, and let's see if there's any difference. Have to wait for the tubes to warm up again. Just turn the volume up a little bit. Okay, so the hum is pretty quiet. What I'm going to do is carefully disconnect one. It does help. It does help. It helps significantly there. I want to try clipping it into a different spot. Alright, I'm going to try clipping it onto this. Now the voltage is a little high, so I hope this doesn't make too much noise. That helps about the same as the other one did. And I should also try here. Yeah, I'm tempted to say that the best place to put it is here, not because of what I hear in my ear, but because there's a limit to how much capacitance some of the rectifier tubes can feed. So I don't want to put too much capacitance on that, but I can stack capacitance on it after the inductor, which is where I am right now. So I may just put another one in parallel here to try to kill some more hum. So it does help. This one doesn't seem to help as much. So yeah, let's do that. It doesn't help with the noise. I can still hear a lot of white noise, but the 60 hertz hum went down a little bit. Now, the second I turn this power supply off, the hum goes away instantly. So I have a feeling that it's from somewhere in the power supply. The problem is tubes are fed with 6 volts AC, so you're inherently putting the hum right there where you're doing your sensitive amplification. And so unless you switch them to DC, you're going to have hum there in the tubes. But we're going to try to minimize the power supply hum as much as possible. So let's short this out. Okay, let's short it out. So I'm going to go ahead and solder a second one of these capacitors in parallel with the first one here, which is the second stage of the filtering. Okay, putting this thing back together for the 99th time. I'm going to put the metal plate on the front now because there are some open wires here which may be picking up signals, and that's maybe why I'm getting hum. So I'm going to go ahead and put the whole metal plate back on and see how we're doing. Okay, hopefully we got everything there. Looks awesome. Boy, whoever used these screws really messed them up good. They are very pretty stripped. Must have used a power drill or something. Oops, forgot this piece. Alright, well, we're just going to test it now, so I guess it doesn't have to be complete. Turn it on, warm it up. to bleed through. And they're not getting anything on stereo. Alright, we'll try. We'll figure it out. Never stop learning something new with these reels. There's a metal tang here. I have no sound right now. If I push that in, I get my sound. Where's it supposed to push? This button pushes it down. This roller. So who would have thought that you actually have to push this down and then it works. It's just crazy. These things are mechanical blunderbusses.